Picture this. It's 2013, you just got home from school, and there's only one thing on your mind. You boot up the trusty Xbox 360, and this song comes on.
Enemies down. Enemy spotted.
Hostile UAV above. Moving. On your feet. Button up. Taking the advantage.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Technically the first COD game in a futuristic setting, set in the far future year of 2025. And it's one of the games that somehow managed to keep the peak era of Call of Duty going. In fact, it was literally the last Call of Duty game before the collapse came of coasts. And pretty much every aspect of this game was just beautiful. Obviously including the most important part of the game, the multiplayer. Unlike the other CODs that I've talked about so far, 13 years and 2 console generations later, the Xbox 360 version of Call of Duty Black Ops 2 still has some multiplayer games going. But it's definitely a very different experience to what it used to be. Just look at this, it's heartbreaking to see this few people online. First of all, the only game modes you can still find games in are Team Deathmatch and Free For All. And when I went on, there was a whole single person playing S&D. Then, when you get into a lobby, which is surprisingly easy, there only being a few hundred people playing, you have to wait to get in the actual game to see if it's genuinely playable. Because this game's quite old now, and Activision wants you to play the new COD games instead of the one they're not selling anymore. So they don't care about all the online hackers and modded lobbies anymore. Apparently this is much worse on PC and Steam, where hackers can just get into and control your computer just from you being connected to the servers. I mean, the worst you're really going to get on console is someone using an aimbot on you and lasering you through a wall. Or, if you're lucky, the hackers aren't even annoying and they just fill the game with bots. Or you find something like the only free-for-all game I could get into, where everyone was just in super speed the whole time, and then randomly a few minutes in, everybody was put up to 29 points just to force the game to actually end. I think it's really weird comparing the gameplay in this to more modern CODs like Black Ops 6, because they just feel so different to each other despite being in the same series and made by the same developer. Like, coming back to Black Ops 6 now, it feels so insanely fast. The movement and climbing just make it feel like getting anywhere is basically instant. But compared to Black Ops 2, time to kill in Black Ops 6 feels weirdly slower. Black Ops 2 feels like every gun is like a 2 or 3 shot kill and you can barely react to it. Whereas Black Ops 6 has everything at about a 5 shot kill, which at least gives you time to react to being shot. Black Ops 6 instead puts so much more emphasis on the movement mechanics in the game. And it's not just from the Omni movement that they added in that game. The whole tactical side really changed COD's movement a lot more than you think. The old dolphin dives were so slow and you couldn't really do anything out of it. When they made exo slides in Advanced Warfare, they realised sprinting out of slides and shooting while sliding might actually make them useful, while old dolphin diving just makes you a helpless target. Obviously, now unless you slide, you are a dead man walking. Another weird thing to compare is the weapon hand in both of these games, and just seeing how COD has changed their weapon design over time. So, Black Ops 2's weapons have a lot less recoil and are a lot easier to control most of the time, until you start getting hit by bullets. The glitch in this game is absolutely insane. As soon as you start getting shot, you start kicking around like crazy. But Black Ops 6 has basically the opposite, with no flinch, but initially every gun has a stupid amount of recoil. Black Ops 2 was the first COD game to introduce weapon levels and needing weapon XP to unlock attachments for your gun, which eventually became the standard for COD. It also introduced the Pick 10 class system, which means you can have a total of 10 guns, grenades, perks, wildcards and attachments in your class. This also became a staple, but was eventually dropped in favour of the gunsmith system, which lets you have 5 attachments for free, and it's all about customising different parts of the gun. So Black Ops 2 gives you a maximum of 3 attachments, and requires full commitment from your entire class. But in Black Ops 6, just to control your gun to a decent degree, 5 attachments are basically required, and you can have up to 8 attachments with the gunfighter wildcard. So at least Black Ops 6 sort of gives you more control over your class, puts less limitations on customization of your classes. But does that really mean anything if you have to spend all of your attachments just to make it actually do damage at range? Or you're forced to make in the optimum build? And is the gunsmith system all just an excuse to sell pre-made weapon variants anyway? One thing that Black Ops 2 is undoubtedly better than any new COD app is actually making some fun secondary weapons. Some weapons that actually have some utility besides the primary. I mean, I can't find any reason why you would use any secondary other than a launcher in Black Ops 6, because most primaries just outclass every secondary in every single situation. All the pistols are just too weak and too slow to use as an actual secondary weapon when you need it. And you don't really have anything with a unique utility like a crossbow or ballistic knife in Black Ops 6. Whereas Black Ops 2 brings us the Executioner pistol, a short-range shotgun revolver, which is probably the most satisfying pistol to ever use in COD when you hit it right.
Taking the advantage.
Black Ops 2 also completely revamped the killstreak system by changing them to Scorestreaks, meaning you can earn them with points rather than just kills. So they've actually decided to reward players who play the objective by making it possible for them to actually get streaks before they get hit by a random grenade while they try and capture B flag. Obviously, this doesn't really matter anymore when I can only find games in TDM and free-for-all, but it's not surprising that this is one of Black Ops 2's new features that's stuck in the multiplayer. Black Ops 2 also came up with quite a few new score streaks that came to stay on one way or another, like the AGR, Advanced UAV, Hellstorm Missile, and luckily for me, they put in the dumb little hunter-killer drone. This little paper airplane that just blows up on anything it touches, or you throw it up in the air and it just says you in particular to some randomer. Black Ops 2 really set the pace for the score-streak system that followed it, and I feel like that statement could really apply for most of Black Ops 2's multiplayer. It really had a much bigger impact on the series than anyone gives it credit for. Black Ops 2 came at the end of Call of Duty's biggest peak era, the last one before the next console generation, but it was still one of the best games of that era and made so many of the trends that's still in Call of Duty today. For some reason, Modern Warfare 2 gets all the attention as the best multiplayer in the series. Everyone just forgets about Black Ops 2's multiplayer, probably because of how good its other two modes were as well. It had the first campaign with a branching storyline, and the zombies had two of the best maps ever with Origins and Mob of the Dead. The multiplayer, which is usually the most played part, just ended up getting lost in the shuffle over time. If you like this video, it would be cool if you watch another one, or just like and subscribe. Cheers.